expert. Of course, I will not know as much as an expert, right? With finance, though, it's the thing. Like, I mean, finance too. Like, but economics is something I really focused on for years to learn and understand. And it's kind of like my hobby. So if I don't understand something, it's just in my nature to go out and look for answers and try to understand it so I can tell it to you, because I don't want to tell you something that's wrong, right? So that kind of evolved into me becoming probably the economic channel on TikTok. Like the economics TikToker. Like there's lots of out there, but like most of these guys, they're just know bits and pieces. They can't put those things together. What is happening? Like they don't know the entire spectrum, or they don't view it from the entire spectrum. You know, and most of the time they just talk about what happened. Like they just report on what happened. But I don't want to do that. I want you to understand what is going on in a broader spectrum, and then you can think for yourself and see, oh, okay, if that's the case, then probably next will be this and this and this. So that's the goal of my channel. I want you to think for yourself. Agree. Heard you speaking about sector rotation. Interesting. Yeah. You can check it out. If you go on my Discord, I have a free trial for my market updates that I write daily. But I have different servers. And one of the servers is called Academy. And I suggest everyone who joins my Discord to read through the Academy. And then there's a downloadable file. It is from my Ultimate Sector Rotation Guide, which is also, the link of that is also in the bio. It's the second page of that guide. It's kind of like a mini guide, compressed, talking about the business cycle and how to invest using the business cycle. And once you're through that, you can do that for free. It's a free trial. I will suggest you to just read my market updates daily. And then you will be up to date on what is going on. Have you lived in the US? Are you self-employed? I've never lived in the US. I visited the US a few times, but I've never lived there. I lived in Canada, but I didn't live in the US. Are you self-employed? I am self-employed, yes. I'm a freelancer. We'll go there, Discord. Yep, you can join. Check it out. Highly suggest you it's for free. Like, you know, there's nothing you can lose. Check out the free trial. And if you like it, stick around. If not, you know, if it's not for you, that's cool. That's totally fine. Like, I appreciate you just having a look. You know, you're just looking, right? And, you know, at least trying to learn, you know? Like, it's not easy to navigate through Stagflation, you know? How much is the Academy? Well, it's for free. It's for free because there's a free trial, right? So now it's 1 day. It's a 1 day free trial, so you can go in, check it out. But it is the entire thing, not only the Academy, like the entire thing is my Lions community, which is $12 a month. A month, not a day, not a week, a month. Yeah, but if there's some people, they don't want that. There's some people, they just want to learn, like from my book and my sector rotation thing, like the whole spectrum. There's a it's called the Ultimate Sector Rotation Guide. The link is in my bio. Yeah. So, World of Clownery. World of Clownery actually read it. Hey, how are you? She was reading through the Ultimate Sector Rotation Guide. And I'm in contact with every single one who gets it. And what usually happens is kind of funny. So they're like, I don't want to go, you know, for the Discord. I'd rather just learn on myself. Like it's like a Udemy course basically. And after that they messaged me, right? Because I asked them, hey, do you have any questions? Like, can I help you with anything? And then they joined the Discord after. So there you go. So that speaks for itself. Like, not a single time I had anything negative. Like there was no, like, really no one said anything negative about it yet. No. Do ethnic Germans see you as German? Like, what is ethnic German? We are very mixed too. Right? Like, Germans are very mixed too. Like, a lot of Germans have Polish ancestry, French, or Italian ancestry, right? Like, a lot. So, are you not German? No, I'm German. I'm born and raised in Germany. However, my mom is Turkish. My mom came from Turkey. And my dad is German. But my dad also, he's from Alsace, from the Alsace region, the Saarland, which is, it's like France. It's just like France, basically. Like, even some words when he was alive, sometimes the words he used with my uncles and aunts are French words, straight up French words, like Germanized French words. It's really interesting. I'm 42% German genetically, but I'm basically German. Really? You did a genetic test? I did a genetic test too. But Turkish people are super mixed, right? Like, it's like, I'm not Anatolian Turkish at all. I'm like 100% European. Like, my Turkish side from the family is with the same genes like South Italy and Greece. Like, if you look at me, I don't look Anatolian. I'm very white. I mean, now it's like yellowish because of the warm light, but I'm so white it's almost racist. Have you some Turkish language? Yeah, I speak some Turkish. Yeah, I understand mostly. I know basic Turkish. Yeah, like, I can watch TV and understand. I heard Turkish aren't accepted in Germany. Well, there's 6 million Turkish people in Germany, so most of them are like second, third generation now. Like, it's okay. Of course, there's always like, anywhere you go, there's racism. Like, anywhere you go. But it's not like I faced this discrimination and racism. I grew up in a very small Catholic community, and I was the only Turkish person there, even though my last name is German. And I felt, I felt bad. Actually, I was I don't know if I want to say this. Like, there was one incident where I was beaten up because I was Turkish. I was in 6th grade, I think. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that Germany as a whole is racist. There's just some idiots everywhere, right? Germanic, ethnic Germanic, okay. I visited Germany in 2010 and I hated it. Never again. Lots of staring. Yeah. Where are you from, Menda? Where are you from? I mean, Menda meant I always have to ask you. I know who you are, but I always have to ask you again and again. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, it's really hard to remember. There's so many people, right? World of Clownery. Are you still here? Like, what is your genetic results? What is it? You're 42% German. What's the other? I mean, you look very northern. Like, Like if I look at you, facial, like I would guess like Norway, Sweden, or something, and some Irish too, Germanic, world of clownery. Don't forget to like, huh? Don't forget to like my video. Gifts are appreciated too. Crypto Chip, welcome, man. How are you? Pam joined too. Scandinavian, yes. Sorry, I just couldn't remember. Scandinavian, English, Irish, Spanish, Iberian, Italian, and Romania. Yeah, you have a very Scandinavian look to you. That was my guess. Like you said, I'm half German. Like yeah, the other half's like a lot of Scandinavian. Any views on the interest rate going much more up? Look. There's two options. What the Fed can do. Next week is actually the FOMC meeting. So either they pivot or they bail out a bunch of more banks and then pivot. That's it. They have to pivot. Because these assets that these banks are holding, they are not worth anything anymore with increasing rates, right? They're worth less and less. So if the bank wants to, those assets they bought, like mortgage-backed securities and so on, they bought them in 2020. While interest rates were zero, they got these T-bills and mortgage-backed securities for like slightly above zero rates. Mortgage-backed securities for like 3% rates. Now mortgage-backed securities are like 7%, right? Interest rates are up. So if people want their money and they're forced to sell these assets, they're worth less and less, right? They have to sell them for discount. So what the Fed can do is they bail these banks out by buying these assets, which will increase the price. But that doesn't solve the problem, right? Okay, you bailed out one bank, but what about the other banks? They will follow because of increasing rates. They were so used to low interest rates. Right? So the Fed is forced to pivot and bring rates down. So the overall value of these assets goes up. And that will stop the bailouts. The banking system is more important than fighting inflation, which the Fed hasn't even started anyways. So it's going to be really interesting what will happen. I'm from the US, but at the same time I was living in Finland. Oh, nice. Okay, Finland. Like at least 8% Netherlands. Neanderthal. You're Neanderthal. Yeah, like here, right? This one. Me too. Like this one, the Scheite, they say in German. This one is like this one. What is the end game in Ukraine? Russia will take over the entirety of Ukraine. That's the end game. That was the end game since day one. Totally avoidable, that conflict. But yeah, with all the money and all the weapons sent there, Ukraine is not winning that war. So Russia's gonna take it and deinstall the puppet government that was installed by the West back in 2014. Yeah. You think Ukraine's a false flag operation? I'm not sure what you mean with false flag operation. So view on where we are in 1 to 2 years. Financial crisis rate down for long period. So with financial crisis, you probably mean a recession. So you have to understand, most people don't understand, we are at the end of the long-term debt cycle. So during the short-term debt cycle, right, if you enter a recession, you want to be in defensive sectors like healthcare, consumer staples, utilities, and so on. I also talk about that in my book, right? And then because when the Fed increases rates above the inflation rate, that brings inflation down. It encourages saving, overspending, and that brings the inflation down. And there's less activity in the economy, and then the Fed can pivot, bring rates down again, inflation is down, and then the short-term debt cycle starts again. That's the business cycle, right? But in the long-term debt cycle, we're at the end of the long-term debt cycle, where the recession is just stagflation, where the Fed cannot increase rates above the inflation rate without collapsing the entire economy, and where inflation is not going to go away. Okay? So in that scenario, the last time that happened was in the 70s and 80s. And most of us are not old enough to remember what to do during stagflation. And that's why no one knows what to do during stagflation. That's why everyone's just like a switch. Switch on is they invest into tech and crypto, which suffers from inflation. Those sectors are not good during inflation. You don't want to be in speculative assets during high inflation. That hurts these sectors. Or they switch off and they're in panic mode and they hold cash and buy bonds. So the Fed has to balance these things out. So they have to keep inflation low, but they want inflation to print away the debt at the same time, just not too high. And that's why they make you believe on YouTube, TikTok, in the media, everywhere, that this big recession is coming since the past 8 months or so. I want to look outside if you're from the US. Is that what a recession looks like? Everyone is with full employment, right? So, and now the bailouts are happening. So we just skipped the recession part and bailed everyone out. It even went international. They're bailing out Credit Suisse. Again, they bailed them out last year through what is called swap lines. So yeah, there's no deflation. There's no recession. That recession that everyone's talking about is stagflation. And during stagflation, sooner or later, people are going to realize, oh shit, I should own real things. I shouldn't be speculating. Which is why I'm telling you guys, since over a year, over a year and a half, over a year, to be in commodities. So, yeah. Look, you can learn this stuff by yourself. You can look it up online and stuff. Like, nothing of what I say is something I came up with. I learned it too somehow, but I put everything I know together in my guide, link in the bio. I put everything together I know. There's a video in there, there's a questionnaire in there to test yourself, and you should get it. And that's what my market updates are for, to make you a rational thinker and understand economics and how to navigate through stagflation. My market update, my Discord community is not there to give you a ticker or to teach you how to read charts and invest into this or that. It's just to make you think rationally. So yeah, and there's lots of interesting people there on my Discord that know a lot of stuff that the average person doesn't know. So I mean, what do you rather have? A more expensive Netflix subscription, or actually something that helps you with your life? You know. Do you think Ukraine is a fault? Okay, I can't answer that. I don't know what you mean. Da, da, da. Okay, sorry, I'm just going. BlackRock already has deals to rebuild. Yeah. Yep, recession. Yeah. We are in recession. Do you do career coaching? I do coaching. Funny enough, I do coaching. There's people I talk to every week. Every week. They just want to talk to me. So I don't charge anything. You know, you don't have to pay me just to talk to me. But it is donation. It's donation based. And, you know, there's people out there that pay lots of money. Like a lot of money just to talk to me. Which is amazing. Which is amazing. And you can too. But I'm not telling you, hey, this is my price, blah, blah, blah. You know, just respect my time. If you benefited from it, and if you want to do it every week or so, or just one time, you know, just want to hear my opinion on certain things in your life, you can set up a call. Also link in the bio. One-on-one coaching. You can see my calendar and you can just book a coaching session with me. Real things like real estate, yeah, more like commodities. Like real estate too, of course. But I mean more like, you know, energy, gold, silver, you know, like real things, real stuff. What's the difference between inflation and stagflation? So, inflation is contrary to what you might think. Inflation is not prices going up. Inflation is the increase of the money supply. So the increase of overall units of money increasing, making the money worth less in that system, right? So if you are on an island and you have one palm tree that gives you 10 bananas, right? Those bananas are pretty valuable. It's the only palm tree that gives you 10 bananas, right? So each banana is valuable. So what happens to the value of your bananas if I ship in another 100 bananas? Or if I plant 2 more palm trees? Well, now your bananas aren't worth as much anymore, right? Because you got so many more now. That's inflation. Stagflation is when you have a stagnating economy. So basically, when you go into recession, quote unquote, we're not in a recession. Someone said we're in recession. Yeah, technically we're in a recession, but all the economic indicators do not show that we are in a full-blown recession right now. Okay? But your economy basically stagnates, and you go into recession not because of increased rates that encourages saving over spending, but because of inflation itself. So inflation becomes so prevalent that people get poorer because of the tax called inflation, that spending goes down. That's stagflation. No, not full employment, way higher than they say. All costs up 40%. It's affecting lots. Well, look, I talked about it so many times. I made several videos about it. You know, I don't know. I will check out your bio goal. Yeah, please do. Would you recommend a cash out refinance? Please help. Look, I can't answer that. There's so many factors. Like, what do you want to do? You want to like? It seems like you have to refinance your home or something. Like, maybe you want to do one-on-one coaching for that one. Too much taking. What do I buy to go to the moon? Natural gas. hands down. Can I just search for you on Discord? Yeah, you can. It's called. So you can search for me. So hashtag Gold Lion 2020. No, sorry, Gold Lion hashtag 2020, and I can invite you to the server. But just click the link in my bio. It says Lion Community, and you get an invite, and you are in the free chat. And then you can upgrade from there if you wanna check out the free trial. So EBC raised rates. The European Central Bank, they did? Like what, 0.25%? Yeah, they could raise rates. That doesn't change anything. I think it would be the wrong option. I think it would be the worst option. I think it would be a better option to just pivot. But, they could just continue the bailouts and increase raising rates and make the problem worse and be forced to bail out more banks. Do you know how, like, the Fed committed to bail every bank out? Like, all the depositors are safe, right? According to the Fed. It's what they decided on the weekend. So on my market updates that I wrote that I found that all the banks together are $17 trillion to bail out. 17 trillion. So just as a reference, the COVID bailouts were 13 trillion, which caused the inflation we're experiencing right now. Right? In contrary, QE causes inflation. Yes, it causes asset inflation, however. Right? It's a little trick they play on you. What caused the general inflation that you are experiencing right now was the COVID stimulus, giving people money directly, increasing the money supply directly. That's what caused the general inflation. So, Silvergate and Silicon Valley Bank's thoughts. What are my thoughts? They got bailed out immediately, which is QE, causing more asset inflation. Yeah. What kind of tea in the cup? Green tea. Green tea. Jesper. No, 0.5%. Yeah. So what? With double-digit inflation, what is 4 or 5%? No, what's the ECB? What's the European rate? Like 3% or 2%? Like Europe is even more in trouble. They can't even raise rates as much as the US. They're in even more trouble. They have to monetize the debt much earlier than the US. Right? So, what, like interest rates at 1% already screwed Italy last year? 1%, guys, 1%. So, like they have to make you believe they're fighting inflation, even though they don't. Okay? They just need to prevent you from panicking. That's their job. And they have to keep the government solvent. They don't give a shit about you. Great tea, too healthy. I like fruity flavors. Yeah, green tea is good. Green tea. But my favorite tea is called oolong tea. Oolong, I think. That's how you pronounce it. Oolong tea is really good. It's my favorite tea. I think it's a type of black tea. But it's like, Jesus, it's so good. New financial system starts in EU first. Yeah, well, their plan didn't work too well, did it? Central bank digital currency was supposed to be revealed first, and then there was supposed to be a bank crisis to justify central bank digital currency and take your freedoms away. But now it happened in reverse. So the plans are not working too well. And central bank digital currency is not going to change economics. It's not going to change the inflation. When will the EU have a fiscal union? What do you mean? Aren't all the countries in the Eurozone using euro already? Like, I'm not sure what you mean. Whatever came of those Greek financial crises? Oh, okay. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, you can use code inflation if you're interested in my sector rotation guide. It's called the ultimate sector rotation guide. Like, don't get confused. There's a sector rotation guide in my Discord, which you can read for free with the free trial. But if you want, if you don't have Discord, you don't want to deal with that, and you just want to learn sector rotation, no problem. You can get my ultimate sector rotation guide, and you can get a 10% discount using code inflation. I'm so creative, right? What is sector rotation? Well, sir, time to watch my content. Recession is for sure? No. What recession? We skipped the recession with the bailouts. The recession everyone's talking about is stagflation. And you don't want to be in risky assets during stagflation. So, yeah, check out the link in my bio. Or watch my content and then check out the link in my bio. Like TD Bank in Canada making changes to their policy now. To protect from withdrawals and digital currency. Yeah. Well, the entire West is in the same boat, right? It's very similar. Are they causing this coming recession for accumulation? What coming recession? Where's the recession going to come from? They just bailed out the entire banking system. Where is this recession going to come from? So all the banks are getting their bailouts, okay. All right, so there's no mortgage-backed security crisis like in 2008, okay. So where is this recession going to come from? Spending will go down because of inflation itself, which is called stagflation. That's what we are in, but people don't realize it yet. I'm here to tell you first. I'm talking about this since over a year. Since over a year. You didn't have to wait for all this stuff to happen to know. If you followed me. 7 Foot Daddy did. There's people here watching, they did. Okay? So. A major crypto and trading app is restricting withdrawals to $20 per day. You mean Binance? Yeah, look. All these banks that use risk, like all these big banks, like Silicon Valley, like why Silicon Valley Bank? Why, what's this other one? called, like, it's these banks because they are engaged in risk. They do crypto, and they have all these tech companies on. They use lots of leverage, they use lots of risks. That's why they're fucked. All right? So if you withdraw from your bank, which is a small regional bank, I think, and to put your money into bigger, too big to fail banks, what most people are doing, I can see it doing because of my freelance job. I think it's a mistake. All right? And I talked about what you can do to protect yourself. So the insurance limits are usually around 100K. So most of you watching do not have 100K sitting in cash in your bank. Okay, more than 100K sitting in your, most of you don't. So you're fine. Okay, depositors are going to get bailed out. Anyways, you're fine, but you still shouldn't do that. Diversify across different institutions. Use credit unions. Maybe you qualify to be part of a credit union. Maybe you are maybe you are in you're doing some type of career that has credit unions. They have much better rates, and they don't do corporate accounts. They don't. Sure, bailouts could still happen. Bank runs could still happen even in a credit union, but I don't see how. All right, they don't have these big corporate accounts with billions of tech and crypto dollars on it to have a run on that bank. They do just plain vanilla banking. All right, have a vault, own some gold and silver. Like, what the fuck are you doing with over 100,000 over your insurance limit cash in the bank right now? Since 8 months, because you believe them, because we had 2 quarters of no growth. It's like we're in a technical recession. Oh no, we're in recession. Which recession? From where is this recession going to come from? Like, wake up. Okay? Inflation is going to be permanent. That's all you have to care about. Inflation is going to be permanent. You don't want to be in cash. You don't want to buy bonds. You want to own real things. Okay? So, bail-ins instead, like where you can't withdraw your money. Yeah, that's why I'm saying, but that's what happened in Cyprus, right? Crypto.com and trading 212. Yeah, look, all these like bullshit crypto bro banks and tech bro banks, like will US inflation get worse? Yes. As BRICS gain strength? Yes. And petrodollar slowly replaced by CBDC. And so the petrodollar is not going to be replaced by CBDC. Those are two different things. Okay? The petrodollar is already dead. CBDC is not going to change inflation. And XAU, I don't know what that is. And also, BRICS, the BRICS system is mostly going to be, at the beginning at least, a system to just to trade. It's like SWIFT, but for countries that own commodities and produce everything, which is like the entire world. All right, like all the BRICS nations together, they have 80% of the commodities, 80% of production. They are the powerhouse of the world. All the West has, the US has, is their, the dollar is the world reserve currency, and they have paper money basically. And that's going to go away. So, but there's one thing you have to understand. We grew up in a time where you had one supernation with one global reserve currency. But that is not normal in history. That never happened throughout history. You know, like a big supernation stronger than the 10 nations below it combined, bullying the entire world. That never happened in history. So it's a very unique time we're born into. And it's not who will replace the US, who will replace the USD. There's nobody going to replace the US and nobody going to replace the US dollar. It's just going to be like it was for most of history, where you had local superpowers which have to have something in common, which have mutual benefit in their trade and with their economies, which is much better than what we see right now, right? If you don't do what the US wants, you see, right? They take away, they freeze your accounts, they throw you out of SWIFT, they weaponize the dollar to the point where countries are forced to look for an alternative, which is a big mistake the US did. Okay? Gold-backed currencies, yes. How can they bail these banks out when they don't share their profits? Well, there's a machine, they press a button, and that machine does brrr and prints a bunch of money. That's how they bail it out. Yes, Cyprus, the test. Yeah, Cyprus was probably the test run for, what would happen if we do this, right? We don't care about Cyprus. Who cares about Cyprus? And they just, I don't know. That's a conspiracy theory. But I think that's what's going on. What's your opinion about, will gold get more expensive soon? Yes, gold will go up, of course. Mexico is joining BRICS. Yeah, USA is losing all power with standing up to US and their big stick. Yeah. Why do you think Bitcoin went up when the banks looked in trouble? Because people don't understand what stagflation is. Like, look, just think rationally, okay? Like, just think about it, okay? So, what we're experiencing right now, right? Okay, so you're about to invest into Bitcoin, okay? And you see Bitcoin going up, okay. Does that make sense? Why is Bitcoin going up if all the banks are failing, right? Okay, so in 2020, we had stimulus, right? And we didn't have inflation, but we had like near zero interest rates, right? And then you saw Bitcoin going up, tech going up, everything, like all the asset inflation, because they did QE, quantitative easing, which causes asset inflation. But in 2021 and 2022, we saw inflation going up and interest rates going up, right? And then Bitcoin, tech, and all that did not do too well. I told you guys in 2020, in December 2020, I sold my Tesla, and I told you guys, hey, take the opportunity, sell out of Bitcoin, sell out of your speculative assets, and go into commodities, because we're going to enter stagflation. I'm talking about this since over a year. So, right now, do we have low inflation and low interest rates? Or do we have permanent inflation, basically, and heightened interest rates? Well, it's the latter. What asset? So what is happening right now is less like 2020 and more like 2021 and 2022, right? We just established that. So what asset performed the best during 2020, 2021 and 2022? Was it Bitcoin and tech? No. Bitcoin and tech went down over 20%. The best performing asset was energy, which is a commodity. And now look at what is happening right now. Now knowing this, look at what is happening right now. And you see Bitcoin going up, commodities being bid down. Is that the smart move? Like for you as an individual, like here's your money. Where do you go? Did you follow that Bitcoin and tech going up? Or do you take an opportunity to sell? Like which one do you do? You answer the question yourself. They have to announce printing, right? They did already. They bailed out the banks immediately, same day. Thanks for all you do, brother. Respect. Thank you for your support. Dan Pena once said about Bitcoin that is created by Putin. Why does nobody knows who created it yet? Like who cares? You think more banks are gonna fail? Yes, the bank runs are going to continue. So it's not the banks failing. The banks are fine. It's people just seeing, look, they waited for the Fed to pivot. And then these assets, which are worth less that these banks hold, like mortgage-backed securities, T-bills, they lose value as interest rates go up compared to the new rates. Because they bought them in 2020 when interest rates were like near zero. So they can do their speculation in tech and all these tech and crypto banks, right? That are failing. And people are like, so when the Fed pivots, what everyone awaited, then rates will go down. And relative to that rate, these assets these banks are holding are going to increase in value again. That's what everyone was hoping for. But then the Fed said, no, we're not going to pivot. We're going to increase rates. So people ran out of patience and pulled all their money, and that's what caused the bank runs. And that's going to continue unless the Fed pivots and increases the value of these assets across the board. Or if the Fed bails out this bank, then this bank fails, then they bail out this one, then this bank fails, then they bail out this one with printed money, I might add, and then pivots anyways. So there's not much option. So I think it would be really stupid of the Fed to announce next week that they're not going to pivot and keep increasing rates. That will make this problem worse. But that doesn't change the reality of inflation. It would be a better option to just pivot. And you as a Fed, you probably lose all credibility because weren't you fighting inflation? And everyone will see through the bullshit. So when inflation comes roaring back after the pivot and the Fed says, oh, we're going to fight inflation, everyone's going to know that this is just a bluff. So they're losing all credit. It's a really, really difficult situation for the Fed. So the bank failures, the banks are not failing. The banks are fine. The bank runs are going to continue. And the QE, as a response to that, is going to continue, and the bailouts, until the Fed pivots. Gets Sugar says, at Tony Hum, Satoshi is probably a group of people like Hal Fanny and Craig Wright and others. Maybe. Is people panicking causing bank failure? Yes. Like right now, yes. Homeland Security knows who Satoshi is. It's a group. Proof of work doesn't work. Bitcoin down. Okay. How much do you think they will increase rates by? Big analysts are claiming that Feds will pivot. So, if I was the Fed, I would announce a pivot next week. But look, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. It's it's really I have to assume to answer these questions, I have to assume the Fed and these people they're sane and they act rationally. but everything I'm seeing is kind of contrary to that. Like, I have to try to make sense of what they're doing. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. But it's really hard to make a prediction when people are insane. Right? That's what insanity is. It's hard to predict. How much you think? Oh yeah. So user is asking, do you see the decline in the market stopping sometimes this year or mid-2024? So when the Fed pivots, you will see asset inflation across the board. So it's going to be a repeat, not of 2020. It's going to be because of inflation, because we have high inflation, right? If you wouldn't have inflation, yeah, sure, Fed pivots, yeah, the good times are back. But initially, that's what people will think. So they're gonna pour back into tech and crypto because that's all they know. They don't know what stagflation is. Their algo bots don't know, but they will realize after losing money that inflation is still there and hurts sectors like tech and crypto. It will be a repeat of 2021, 2022, in my opinion, where the best performing asset was energy and other commodities, not tech and crypto. So it's like a tower of cards, and they pulled a few and started to panic now. Buy XRP. Sure, you go do that. What if Bitcoin was a test for CBDC? Like no real decentralization because the soft has a new IP. No, I don't think so. Of all the users, it works like torrent. Maybe. Okay, anyways, I have to keep this short this time. Lots of people joined this time. Please check the link in my bio. If you're interested in sector rotation, learning this, how to navigate through stagflation, you can get my ultimate sector rotation guide, link in the bio, or maybe even better, join the Lions community. It's a free trial, so you can try for free. There's a guide there and the academy there to be up to date of what is happening right now. And I post my market updates 5 times a week. So I write my market updates every day. To inform you, to let you know what I'm doing and how to navigate through stagflation, which we're in right now. So if you care, and it's a really important topic you should be caring about, check the link in my bio, okay? If you want to talk to me, you can just book it's called one-on-one coaching, also link in the bio if you want to talk to me. It's donation based. I don't want to charge for people just want to talk to me, but also respect my time, All right, the first block in the Bitcoin blockchain says this is for the bailouts of the banks back in 2008. Yeah, probably as a statement. Anyways, I wish you guys a wonderful day ahead or a wonderful night if you're from Europe, and talk to you soon. I see you on Discord in the Lions community. Take care.